In this lesson we'll look at the different light types inside Arnold. So I'm just going to hide my area light here, press H, and then I'm going to look at the lights here. So I'll just tear this menu off, and it's just inside Arnold lights. And so you've got the standard My light, so I'm not going to go over these. The directional light, which the rays are parallel, so that's good for the sun. Point lights, which is the most inefficient because it's like having 6 lights, which come from every direction. And then you've got the spotlight, which is the Swiss Army knife, and that's pretty useful. And then you've got the quad light, which is an area light. So I don't really use that. I use the Arnold area light. So these are the Maya lights. So let's have a look at the Arnold ones. So I'm going to just open up the render view here, and you can see it's black because we've just hidden our light. And then I'll create a sky dome light, and now you can see you've got a sky dome in there, which is basically a giant light all around the scene. Let's just make this a bit bigger here. It's like a sphere, and it's moving all around. It's around the scene, and it's giving out light, and this is what it looks like. So we can map that. We can change the color of that, for example, to blue, and you can see it changes there. We can change the intensity just like a regular light, and we can change the resolution. So this resolution is related to the HDR map that you would apply to this color. So we'll talk more about this later because we're going to use this in our scene, but I just wanted to introduce you to that. And so we'll talk more about this a bit later, but all these other parameters are very similar to just the area light that we saw, and we'll take a look at this format a bit later as well. So I'll just get rid of this, and let's just go on to the next light, which is the mesh light. And with the mesh light, you want to select something before you create it. So it's basically going to turn a piece of mesh into a light. So if I just turn this lighting back off, just turn that off, and then let's just create a torus here. Just increase the size of that, move it up here. So this is going to be my light, and I can use anything I want to, and then I can go to Arnold lights and use the mesh light. So now this is going to give off light, and we just need to update this scene as usual, and we need to increase the intensity just like we said before. So I'm just going to go to the parameters for this. So the parameters are located in the mesh light inside the shape node. So if you go to Arnold, you can see inside the shape node it's changed to mesh light in the Arnold section. So I'm on the shape, Arnold, it says mesh light, okay? And then you've got color, intensity, etc. So if I increase the exposure here, you should start to see something. There we go, a bit too much. So there you go. So inside your reflections, you'll see this shape in the reflections as well, so that's pretty handy. So it's great for things like fluorescent lighting and things like that, or specific objects, like if you've got a character that's giving off flames and you want a specific shape of that character to cast light. It's very handy for that sort of stuff as well, so that's great. You can also have it visible, so if I turn this on, you can see that you can see it in the actual render. And then these other parameters are all the same. Okay, so I'll just get rid of this. And then we'll go on to lights, photometric light. So with the photometric light, what you do is provide it with a file, a .ies file, and that's basically a profile for a light. It will define the fall off of light, which is really cool. So these are actual lights in real life, so it's great for architectural rendering, for example. So you can see by the icon here, this is what we should expect. I'll just bring up Chrome here, and I've just typed in IES profiles, and you can see this is the sort of thing that you get, and you can download these free. There's loads that you can download for free, so if you just type in IES profiles, you can just download these. You've got some from Unreal Engine, from RenderMan, from Derek Jensen here. So you've got plenty that you can download and experiment with. So you just put them in there, and you'll get that kind of fall off of light. Obviously in this scene, it's an outdoor scene. We won't be using it with this particular scene. Just a quick note with the photometric light, it does have this extra parameter called radius, and radius is to soften out the shadows. So because it doesn't actually have a size, you can actually change the size of it by changing the radius, so you can soften out the shadows. Just scale this up so you can see what it looks like. This is what it looks like here. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that. So in this lesson we looked at the different light types inside Arnold.